Hi, I'm Kristi. Today we're doing a series about fresh, raw, and organic food. Our series is called Fresh and Raw. What we want to show you is how to make delicious, affordable, and organic dinners incorporating as many raw foods onto your plate as we can. So I'm going to do a simple demonstration today of how to make a spiralized zucchini pasta using several market vegetables that are all organic, and we're going to do a very simple tomato sun-dried marinara sauce as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is use a Japanese mandolin, also referred to as a spiralizer. If you don't want to go that route, you can always just use a household peeler and make your perfect fettuccine noodles that way. So I'll show you how to use the spiralizer. You want to start out with vegetables that are kind of as thick as you can get them and as straight as you can get them possible, so that you don't run into problems with curvy vegetables when you're spiralizing your pasta noodles. So this is something fun that you can do at home. You can see how long of a noodle you can make, and there's a few different settings on the machine. So what I like to do is a couple different types of pasta per dish so I can get different textures in the noodles. So we'll do this first one here. Looks wonderful. And afterwards, you're going to end up with some leftovers. So just put that to the side because we're going to use it in the marinara dressing later. So I'll put these noodles here and I'll show you a larger noodle that we can make. It's just a thicker spaghetti noodle. This setting's good for doing eggplants into Shanghai noodles, thicker root vegetables. You can get a nice thick spaghetti noodle using this setting. Just make that go through. So you can see today that I picked up some carrots. I've got a nice candied beet. And I've got some squash, which I've never used before. This is the fun part of spiralizing, is as long as it's kind of a hard root vegetable or a long vegetable, it's something we can spiralize. So get creative at home. You can do a lot of things with this unit. So there's some more beautiful pasta noodles. We'll use this flat piece for the last setting. It's a little bit messy, but we'll clean it all up after. And we'll get our last shape for the zucchini noodles, and I'll show you how to do some of the other vegetables as well. Oh yeah, so this one's good if you're doing kind of a more heartier pasta with like a cashew cream sauce. Or you can always use a homemade vegan coconut Alfredo sauce and just blanch the vegetables quickly in a pot of hot water. So here we've got some beautiful looking noodles. You can see how long of a piece, maybe something fun to do with the family on a Friday night. And we'll set those all aside as I show you just how to peel your own fettuccine noodles. It's really easy. Just gonna take a household peeler, start at the top, and just peel right along there. See how they're coming out? So these noodles are ideal if you want to make like a layered raw lasagna. You can use them for a raw fettuccine pasta. You're just going to keep going around and around your squash or your beet or your zucchini and make your perfect zucchini noodles. A really nice dish you can do with this that's very simple is just a simple lemon, garlic, and olive oil dressing. It makes a nice, fresh summer salad with hardly any effort. In 5 minutes, you'll be impressing your guests like they could not have even imagined. All right, so we've got some nice fettuccine here. We'll see if we can put this beet through the spiralizer. I'm probably going to go with the thinnest noodle because I don't want it to be too starchy. And then I'm just going to keep my beet separate from the zucchini because, as you know, it will dye everything pink. So I'm probably just going to marinate the beets down and use them as more of a garnish. All right, so you can see those beautiful beet spirals coming out of there. Beets have a ton of vitamins in them. They're tasty. They've got that bit of sweetness you're looking for. Absolutely gorgeous addition to any plate. So I'm going to pop my little beet noodles in here, and I'm going to add a little bit of carrot noodle right to it. So always keep your leftovers from your spiralizing because you can use it in other recipes later, even if it's just throwing it into a smoothie or using it for your soup stock. There's pretty much nothing you have to waste when you're buying organic fruits and vegetables except for the very tops that you cut off them. So again, you can see we're making awesome carrot noodles. Could you imagine those in a beautiful sushi roll? There's so many ways you can use these. So just go buy all your produce one day a week. You can spiralize it all up, have it in the fridge. It's gonna last you, and you can add little bits to all of your meals, and that's a way to get some raw food incorporated into your diet. The best oil for marinating your root vegetables is going to be safflower oil. So I'm just gonna pour a little drizzle on my zucchini and carrot noodles. I'm gonna add just a pinch of sea salt to get those breaking down, and just mix those together nicely. Oh, they're gonna be the most beautiful garnish to go with our zucchini pasta today. So I'll leave that there. Noodles like this, you know, butternut squash, cabbage, beets, carrots, they're gonna need about half an hour to soften up. But once that safflower oil and the salt incorporates together, you're gonna get a nice tender noodle there. It's gonna be delicious. So we'll throw all of our zucchinis into this container here, get our pasta ready. So you can see we've got a mixture of all sorts of noodles. It's gonna be absolutely beautiful. When you're dealing with raw food, it doesn't have to be perfect, because honestly, the secret is all in the sauce. When you're using gluten-free breads, vegetables, there's not a high salt content. So what you want to do is make your sauce a little bit sweeter and a little bit saltier than you would normally eat it just on its own. And then that way it's really going to pull through the breads and the vegetables, and you know, not seem like you're missing something. You want that flavor to be absolutely full. So I'm not going to marinate the zucchini because it's already a very soft vegetable, but I am going to use all these little ends here to use in my sauce. So other items we could have added to the dish could have been some fresh cucumber, some daikon radish. I've spiralized a butternut squash. So really, your imagination is the limit when it comes to what you're going to add to your special raw pasta dinner at home. So a simple sun-dried tomato marinara is a wonderful recipe to have on hand because you can use it for a million different items. You can do herb and garlic, you can do lemon basil, you could do a rosemary with all of your fresh herbs. You could even do a simple cheesy tomato sauce using some special ingredients I'm going to show you today. So it's all about what you're getting at the store. The most important things on my list are a mixture of items so you can add the acidity, the citrus, the bitterness, the sweetness, and all those other flavors that you need to make that recipe really pop in your mouth. You don't want to stop your cooking or uncooking until your taste buds go, yeah, that's delicious. Maple syrup or dates are always my sweetener, and of course, both organic. Today I've picked up some organic miso. For spices, I've got some basic Italian seasoning here and some healing turmeric, always a great boost the color of your recipe. One ingredient you may have heard of, but you're not quite sure what it is the organic flake nutritional yeast. So on the tongue, it tastes you know, quite bold. It has almost a meatish flavor, but it is a cheese replacement for vegans. It's something you can sprinkle on toast, on your popcorn, add to all of your sauces, your soup bases, and you can also put it in all of your sauces just to help round out the flavor. Sometimes you might be making an item and you think, oh, I don't want to add more salt. I've already added a lot of salt, but it's just missing that depth and that body. Nutritional yeast, a nice big shot of it. You can't really go with too much or too little. Sea salt is another important thing on my list. We're going to add a little bit of that today. And then, of course, just some organic extra virgin olive oil. So these are the ingredients that I always call Kristi's special group of ingredients. It makes it so that on your tongue you're tasting all flavors, which essentially is the Ayurvedic way of cooking. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of those, what we call them, the soup nasties. We're going to pour them into this jar and we're going to blend them right into our sauce. Pretty much wasting is out of the question when you're working with organic food. You don't want to be throwing anything usable into the garbage because, well, you might as well just throw some of your money in the garbage. This is a great medium to add a lot of vegetables. Let's pretend you have kids and they don't like eating veggies. Well, let's just throw some right into this sauce. They're never going to know. They're going to get a huge shot of it. Plus, by keeping it raw, you're gonna have all the nutritional value there. We've got some garlic that we just crushed up. What I did was I took my organic garlic, just took a simple knife, gave it a nice smash, and then if you want to get those cloves out of the skin nice and quick, again, just another smash, the skin comes right off and it's ready for you to use. You can also make this recipe onion and garlic free if you so choose. You can also make it sugar and salt free. It just depends what your dietary constrictions are. So I'm just crushing up a full green onion, throwing it in there. I've got some garlic in there. I've got all these other beautiful veggies. And now last but not least, a nice handful of sun-dried tomatoes. Now you can kind of tell, well, you can obviously tell that I'm not measuring anything. And the reason why is because at your house, you're gonna have a different assortment of fruits and vegetables than I have here today. So as long as we're getting a blender full of predominantly some fresh tomatoes, I've got some nice, beautiful organic aromas here, our sun-dried tomatoes, our mixture of vegetables, and now the most important part, Kristi's secret sauces. So this is the way you can make a gazpacho raw soup. We're making a raw sun-dried tomato marinara today. You can also make your own ketchup at home using the exact same recipe. You're just going to use a touch more apple cider vinegar and a little bit of dates to really thicken up to a ketchup-y consistency. So let's start adding my favorite things. Nice sprinkle of turmeric, sprinkle of Italian seasonings. A nice big scoop of that miso adds a lot of depth, body, and flavor. Got some organic lemon juice here, a little splash of that. I always start with 1 capful. You can always add a little bit more later, but I find 1 capful really hits the limit. We'll throw in 1 date to this recipe just for fun, a pinch of our sea salts. Now it might look like I'm adding quite a bit, but just remember we are making, how many is it? 7 cups of sun-dried tomato marinara here. So we want the salt and the sugar to be perfectly balanced, especially when you're working with tomatoes. So I think I've got everything in here. Maybe we could go with a touch of olive oil and a splash of our nutritional yeast, and we'll be ready to go. The only other ingredient we're going to add to our mixture here is water. And my rule of thumb is that when we're making a vegetable sauce, we fill the water line halfway to the top of the vegetables. So no matter how big of a batch you're making or what's in your batch, we're just gonna fill it halfway. And then we're gonna blend it all up and give it a taste. Typically, I put everything in my blender, I'll blend it all up, and I'll taste it and re-season it 3 to 4 times until it's perfect. So have the confidence at home to keep adding, keep tasting. We're going to be using just these little elements here to balance that flavor perfectly. So over to the blender. All right, so tasting. Oh my goodness, it's so fresh and so flavorful. Now, I have a bad habit of making things almost perfectly, so the only thing I can tell that it needs is a shot of the maple syrup. And again, start with a small drizzle. You can always add a little more later. And I do just need a touch more of salt to balance that out. So I'm gonna add those 2 ingredients, and I think it'll be almost perfect. Now this recipe will last in your fridge for up to a week. You can always freeze it as well. You can use it in lasagnas, pastas, soups, stews, casseroles, and you can even eat it as a dip with chips. It's absolutely delicious and versatile. That should do it. Perfect. So, plating our dish. So simple. It's gonna look absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna get a nice assortment of my noodles over here into the bowl. Want to get some of those nice squash fettuccine noodles as well. Delicious. So when you're eating raw foods, you don't need as much as cooked food, that's for sure. It's got a lot more nutritional value, and you're going to get full a lot faster. A lot of people even have a hard time eating 1 full bowl of raw food. So you might have to work up to eating full meals of raw. But what you're going to do is just have all your nice noodles in the dish there. We're gonna scoop some of this beautiful marinara right onto the top for your guests. They can mix it themselves. Oh yeah. Perfect. Now you can always garnish with a touch of fresh pepper, little sprig of basil on top. Oops, we'll get a nice green one. Oh yeah, a little more of this for color. We're looking good. And then a little nice sprinkle of nutritional yeast. So thank you very much, and I hope you have fun making your spiralized zucchini pasta at home. We'll see you again.